I was watching a video again, this time by the 3D printing nerd, aka Joel. He's basically talking about Tollumer, which is a new engineering filament that's become available just this year. It's basically a Kevlar-like polymer that doesn't need fibers added to it to make it strong, because it's basically prints the cushioning structure like a fiber, and it's been available at Dynamism since about June. It's currently, supposedly, according to them, the FDM filament with the highest strength and stiffness to weight ratios. Joel didn't cover the important stuff to us DIYers, though, so I'll get that out of the way right at the beginning. So it's selling right now for $500 per kilo, or if that seems expensive, you can pay $2.75 for a half a kilo. It's only available in this off-white color, which is probably because that's its natural color. I sent an email asking if it releases toxic fumes when heated, and I haven't gotten a response yet. I will update the description if I get that information back. The requirements are a nozzle temp of 270 to 300, but an ideal of 325, which puts it just at the, top range of the bamboo lamps X1C and X1E. A print bed temp of 120, or only 35 on the Bamboo's new cool plate Supertack. An ideal chamber temperature of 60. So they're saying you can print it without the active heated chamber, but 60 is recommended. So they say it should be dry before printing. You should use Magic Glue PC or something similar. It's not recommended to use the AMS. It can only be printed in an enclosed printer, and the glass plate is recommended due to the high temperatures. So I did a little more digging around, and I found some other information. So they first released a data sheet in March of this year, 2024, but it was updated in June. So I look at the differences between the two, and it looks like the things they've most recently discovered are that a high number of walls and infill density is recommended. We'll see that when we start looking at the slicer profiles. An infill pattern with continuous non-overlapping straight lines are recommended. This sounded to me like cubic, but when we look at the slicer profiles, I've actually selected rectilinear. They recommend you only print one object on the bed at a time. For supports, use a 0.1 millimeter interface gap. They're recommending a Briven March, but not now. High print speeds are best for part strength. The crystalline structure form really fast on cooling. Material is highly shear thinning. If the viscosity becomes too low, lower the temperature or flow rate. What that means is basically the hot filament passing through the nozzle, because of how fast it's passing through, the faster it passes, the lower the viscosity actually gets, making it thinner. The ideal nozzle temperature is 325. So the Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon, which has a max of 300, is less ideal than the X1E with its max of 320. So let's look at the slicer profiles that they've released. We'll look at the X1E one anyway. So for the filament, they recommend a chamber temperature of 60. And for the X1E, the X1C doesn't have an actively heated chamber, as I said. No cooling for the first 3 layers. Fan speed of only 30% on the X1C, and on the X1E they say 20%, which seems contradictory to me. And then what's also interesting is the max volumetric speed is 40 millimeters a second, which is twice as fast as PLA. So one of the benefits that they did mention in the video with Joel. Then if we look at the quality settings, you'll see that the first layer height is, the layer height is 0.05. Even on the X1C, it's set to this, but in theory, the X1C only does a maximum layer height of 0.08. So I don't know how that's supposed to work. I guess maybe you can get values for that outside of the machine's tolerance. So they also, if you notice here, I mean, a lot of these are very close. Actually, I don't know why, but the fault line width in Bamboo Studio isn't 0.4 because that's the size of the nozzle. Like it's 0.42. But most of these are similar except for initial layer. So they have a really fat initial layer that's 0.6. It's like 1.5 times the nozzle. Doesn't make sense to me. And then under under strength settings, we see that a high number of recommended walls that we talked about earlier. And then under others, see that the alley they have set a brand, even though the TDS sets that too.